Okay, we're live. Hey,
Hello.
good morning for you, Debbie. Evening for me
Yes,
here.
yes, yes.
Oh, Debbie, I am so happy to have this conversation with you today because before everything, Debbie is one of the co-authors of your True Power book, and I actually finished reading her story yesterday.
Oh,
And yes, I hadn't. I mean, I kind of knew your story somewhat because of, you know, we've been together before. But when I read your story, I swear to you, I got chills in some parts because I so resonated. Very
mhm,
similar things, maybe at different levels of
mhm.
experiencing things, but very, very similar things that you went through. So I am so happy that you're here.
I'm
Debbie is
happy to
a
be here.
coach. She's a coach and author, but I let Debbie introduce herself.
Hi, I am an author. I am a worthiness warrior. That is really what my heart and soul is called to, is helping people to know their worth and to know um, that they can get it back and that you're born with worth. And there's so many people out there who don't know how worthy they are, and that like breaks my heart. So I was one of those people, and I know you were as well, Fiorella. So it's just um I think I went through part of what I went through so that I could be a beacon of light for the people who don't know how amazing and truly beautiful they are. Yeah. So that's who I
Yes,
am. Yeah.
yes. Do you feel like the unworthiness is I don't know, universal belief or something that everybody has going on in different ways? Or
I think on different levels, absolutely. I believe that like when we're born and when we arrive, we are truly whole and worthy and know how amazing of a light that we are. And as we grow through life, there's little things that people do to us that chip away at that. Like it can be as little as your teacher telling you to be quiet or that what you've done is wrong, or your friend saying, "Oh, your dress didn't look good today," or um, your parents telling you, stop talking at the dinner table. Whatever it is, it's those little things I think that start, and they're never intentional for a lot of people, and those chip away at people little by little by little, and they become unworthy of knowing the light that they were. Now there's other people who come in and they have severe trauma, and those people get a smack in the face of unworthiness, and it's something traumatizes them to where they just lose all of their worth. So I think there's varying levels of what it is, and some people realize it and some people don't, but honestly most people don't realize that they are truly feeling unworthy, because that word is a harsh one and people don't really resonate with it.
yeah, it's one of those things that maybe like a lot of us never wants to accept. But then when I know that
Mhm.
when, for example, we're doing the coaching and we're working, it always trickles down to one of those like core beliefs, and unworthiness is one of them, right?
Yes, yes, 100%. It's, I had a hard time at first being the worthiness warrior because so many people don't resonate with that. They feel like, what do you mean? I'm worthy. But they equate worthiness with maybe self esteem a little bit.
Yeah,
And, um, or different things like that. Like, no, I feel good about myself. But down deep, when you're feeling when you feel like you have so much self esteem, you're hiding the fact that you're really feeling unworthy. You're masking it. So it's like, it's a vicious cycle that people go through. And until they're really ready to face the fact that there's a core part of them that from the time they were born has been like just chipped away at, and their worth has gone, um, they're going to be stuck in that pattern of that
yeah.
other unworthiness. Yeah.
Is that what happened to you as a child? Like what do you say was like? I don't know, the main things that now looking back, you're like, damn, that, like, really made an impact in my self worth?
Mine was traumatic. So when I was 4 years old, my mom, my dad, my brother, and myself, we lived in Santa Monica. We moved from Florida to Santa Monica. And one day my mom just came out and said, we're going to go on a trip. And I was like, okay. So she grabbed me and my brother and the neighbor from like downstairs. I was like, why is he with us? But I was just like, okay, we're going on a trip. I'm 4. And about 3 days later, I guess I was crying for my dad. I'm sure because I loved my dad. And she dropped me off on a busy street corner with the car and had me walk home like this little girl. I was so scared. There's a part of me that, yes, I knew where I was and I believed she was coming back. But then there's that other part of me that was like, this is scary. These cars are zooming by and like, what? So I did walk home and I went and I spoke with my dad and I told him, mom said the car is here and she'd be back to get me in 3 days. And I never heard from her until I was probably 26. So,
Wow. And you
um,
were 4 years old.
yeah, I was forced. So for me, the trauma was, why does my own mother not want me? How wrong of a being can I be that my own mother doesn't want me? And I know there's a lot of people out there who have similar instances, and even like people who go through adoption. I'm sure that's the same. I do think sometimes though, and I feel this way, but I don't know, is that a lot of people with adoption, at least they're being given a chance at life by someone who actually does love them, but they can't see that. And I think my mother did the same thing. Like she gave me to my father, who could love me probably more than she could at that moment. I don't know, but that abandonment and that I am so unworthy of my own mother's love is what resonated through my life and through all of the choices that I made, through all of the bad things that happened, and what my life's path had become from that moment.
And what do you think was like the biggest impact? Obviously, at that time, you didn't know that, that would ripple,
Right.
and cause so many things. But what do you think was the biggest thing now looking back, like out of that particular, and I'm sure the other moments, but what happened? Like what pattern started and what, behaviors?
Well, she left me with my father, who was a hippie, basically. So he did a lot of drugs, and that feeling that I had of my mom taking my brother and not taking me really stuck with me. Like, what was wrong with me that she wanted him and not me? Why was I not good enough? And it was a real core being. It was a slap to my core being. That's what, it was like, as a 4-year-old, of course, I didn't know that. But I lived with my dad, who was an addict, and he couldn't give me anything either. So through my childhood, I actually lived with a lot of people that were like, I went to the YMCA and I had counselors. I lived with them. I lived with all my friends. I lived with, like, I never had any stability, ever had any support. I never had any love, honestly. And those brought me to patterns of, I wanted to hide that pain. That pain was so intense within myself. And I did things to self-sabotage that created more pain, that made me feel even more unloved, that I wanted to hide even more. So then I became an addict, and then I became more addicted, and things like that pattern continued throughout most of my life, honestly.
Wow. I now that when you're saying the story about your mom and that, like, I remember when I was 2 years old and my sister was gonna be born and my mom was pregnant with her. I remember that like I had like such a hard time understanding that somebody else was going to come, right?
Yeah.
Like somebody
Yeah.
else was going to take my place. And I know it's not the same, but the feeling was like, because she would like try to like, because I would get tantrums, right? And then she would try to like stop me and she would do like crazy things just to like, calm me down.
Yeah.
And till this day, when I've done the inner work and the coaching, like that's always come up, like that type of like, how come she preferred, or in my head, like the story
Yeah.
was like, she prefers my sister.
Yeah.
She wants me to shut up because she likes my sister better. Or, as a child, you don't know why
Right.
you're making these things up, but so I can that, and that feeling of being abandoned, right? You're just being put
Right.
aside. I can
You're
feel the
being put
pain
aside.
of that little girl, that 4-year-old, just being like, oh my
Mhm.
god, like she
Mhm.
preferred my brother.
Yeah,
Wow.
and to being just lied to so early.
Mm.
Like, everybody's a liar. You can't trust anybody. Like, you can't trust your mom that, like, such a big lie. Like, what? It's amazing what we do to our children and what our parents do to us without even realizing what it is that they're doing. Like, now that we've gone through what we've gone through and we've done all this work, it's I would say almost every person out there has something that they might not say they blame their parents for, but deep inside, they blame their parents for, which has created some sort of unworthiness within them. 100%.
Absolutely. I,
Yeah.
I don't think like, yeah, I don't think like we consciously blame them, but you
Mhm.
and I know that when we are doing deep work, when we're coaching, that's the root. Like it always,
Mhm.
some parent always comes, into the scene, and it's like, oh, I remember when my mom told me this, or when my dad did
Yeah.
this, and it comes down to that, and we are holding that pain as a 40-year-old,
Yeah.
56-year-old. We're holding that pain still, and it amazes me every time that we're in a session how that person didn't even know it. Didn't know
No,
how
they
much
don't
it
know it.
affected
They don't know it. Yeah, they don't know it.
them. Yeah.
It's amazing too. Like, even with my own kids, like I will, like with my son, a lot of this too is like I love to deal with people who are on the other side of addiction, like to help them when they're really ready to stop, are ready to face the demons that got them there, because that's my biggest thing, and the family members as well, because I've been on all sides of it. And my my son, I'm like, you need to do some work with me. And it's like, because there's things inside of you, you're pissed at me. And he's like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm
Mm.
like, oh yeah, you are. Yes, you are. I see your patterns. I see
Yeah.
what you're going through. I see where you're stuck. And like you said, most people are not aware of it. And it's usually, especially because you love your mom, you love your dad. You don't want to think that they're the cause of like your serious emotional traumas, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So Debbie, so you went through all of this. This obviously got you into drugs, maybe some relationships that were in the right ones. What was the lowest point? What was like, the rock bottom? Oh my God, I need to do something.
Um, Losing my children
Mm.
was, like I said, I was an addict for over 30 years. I ended up in prison, and to see the look on my children's faces as well, I knew I had to do something. But I was still so messed up that it didn't really hit me until one day when I was in prison and I went um, to church, which was also a new thing for me because I didn't ever believe in God. I didn't ever believe in any of that, because what type of God would do something like this to me? Do you know? Like, why would God cause so much pain? Why would this being of love and light inflict pain. But then there's other people who say you're supposed to fear God and you're supposed to fear this. So I had all these mixed things with God and the word God and who God was and my relationship with that. And so for me to be going to a church in itself was kind of like a miracle, really. And it was just in this moment in that church where I just broke down and knew with every part of my being that I didn't want this life anymore, that I did not want to do to my children what my mother had done to me and what my father had done to me. I didn't want to be an addict in front of my kids. I didn't want to abandon my kids. I didn't want to repeat those patterns. And so in that moment, those patterns were forever erased because I made a choice to choose a different life, to, no matter what it took, change.
Did you know what you were doing? Like, did you choose and it was like, okay, I'm doing this and I'm going forward and this is it? Or was it a process, you know, to...
It was a process. But in that moment, yes, I made a choice of, I don't want to live this way anymore. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know how I'm going to change. I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. But my will for a different life in that moment became so strong. And I believe that was God, you know, like that was my divine intervention. That was my divine awakening of, yes, you can have a different life. Yes, there is a way. And me as this being I am now, I had no idea what that looked like or how I was even going to do it. I mean, like when I got out of prison, I was homeless in a tent in my sister's backyard. It wasn't like it was, oh, okay, all of a sudden you've made this choice and everything is different. It was a lot of work and it was a lot of pain and a lot of struggle. And it wasn't, it was through a bad relationship. It was through still being abused. I mean, there was a lot of steps and things that I had to work through to get to the other side, but I knew I needed to get to the other side. I knew there was no way I wanted my children to complete the patterns that had been going on in my family, that had been going on in my life, that had been going, I didn't want them to end up where I was. That was the biggest thing. Yeah. I never wanted my children to end up in the spot that I was in behind prison bars. Like that's just, it's not a life. And they deserved more and I deserved more. Yeah.
Do you think when you mention God, do you feel, because there's so much charge, right, to that word God, because we all have been raised with different beliefs and we've seen a lot, heard a lot. I was also like very like against using that word God until now, where I can honestly just be like God and I love God and to me it's my God and I'm not a religious person. I just believe in this life force that you know is out there. But do you believe that you need to believe in something or have some sort of faith to like get out of that deep pain or that situation? Because I'm asking you because I know that there's a lot of people, addicts, that go to like NA meetings, I don't know what they're called, like, and they're asked to believe in something, right? Like you or have faith in something, like a higher power or something. Do you think that's a requirement to? Or
I don't think that's a requirement, honestly. I don't, because it took me a long time to get there, and I changed, and I became sober, and I did all of those things without that belief, honestly, to get to the point of where I am now. I'm not a religious person still. It's all spiritual. I believe in an energy. I believe in, love. I believe in love. And God to me is love. And I think from the time I was little, that was always the case. Like I always believed God was love. Like I would go into church and people would be like, and God said, I'm like, what? That doesn't resonate with me. God, why would God do that? Like why? And then there was also why is God being so mean to me? So there was all kinds of distorted beliefs and things going on about it. So in the moments where I made the choices to change. I did pray to God. I did say, help me, but I still didn't believe, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, it took me a long time to get to a point where I could openly say, I love God and what God meant to me. I had to find out along the way what God meant to me. But I didn't necessarily believe in that when I took those first steps. No, I don't think so.
Yes. Hmm. I can so resonate with that. I feel
Yeah.
like sometimes my biggest aha moments have come just from prayer to
Yeah.
God, to the
Yeah.
God that I believe, to the life force that I believe in, and it's just been, you know,
Mhm.
incredible. It's so
Mhm.
powerful, but um, not everybody believes in God, and it's just such a like, we all have different
Yeah.
beliefs around
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Like there's, like I said, the moment when I fell to my knees and I prayed, God, please help me. I mean, literally, my addiction left. I didn't have any more desires for it. I didn't have. I look at it now, and I'm like, wow, what a miracle! Like, God is so beautiful, Like that was such divine intervention. But
Yeah.
in that moment, yes, I was praying, but did I really believe it was going to work?
Mm.
I don't think so.
Mm.
Um, so I don't know that you necessarily have to believe in God or a higher power in the moment that you start to change your life, but you have to be open to the possibility that that is a path that you would be willing to take.
Yes, I think that's key. Open to the possibility that there might be something out
Yes.
there, so that your
Yes.
energy opens up and you're able to receive, right? Like without
Yes.
shutting yourself down. And
Yeah.
so, Debbie, so where are you now in your life? What are you doing?
My life's amazing now. I have so much fun. I have 3 beautiful kids. My eldest son, actually, I we just went through an addiction thing with him. I almost lost him last year. And from me doing this work and being the person I am now, I was able to actually coach him through, and he's been sober for 14 months. He's doing amazing. He looks beautiful. My daughter's in her second year in college in Davis, and my littlest boy is just an amazing light. He's like just this old soul of beauty. And me personally, I am a 2-time #1 best-selling author. I am an
Woo!
I'm an international best-selling author. I speak and I inspire and I give back a lot. I'm coming next month. I'm speaking at a women's shelter. I just really try to spread the message of love and hope in the world now, and because I really embody that, I really feel like life is a gift, and life is meant to be lived, and life is fun, and there's a way out of whatever it is that you're feeling is holding you down. And it doesn't matter what it is, there's always love on the other side. So yeah, my life's amazing. I have a lot of fun, and I've I travel the world, and I travel different places, and I've met beautiful souls like you, and my friendships are real, and it's just a beautiful life now. Yeah,
That's
I
so
can definitely
amazing.
say I'm
So
happy.
there is a way of turning all that pain and using it as a drive, and like using it to like
Mhm.
ignite that fire to create change. And I think that that's
Mhm.
exactly what you did. You didn't get stuck on that. You made it happen, because I think that it takes a lot, because that it's not easy to come out from addiction, from abuse, from all of that. And I mean, I'm just uh, fascinated by your story, and I wanted to ask you, like, what do you think for somebody that's in that place right now? Either with drugs or abuse or being abused by a partner or something. Like, why would be like, the the thing that you would tell them, or the message for them, like what, how can they get out of that place when they don't know how?
This is something that really speaks to my heart a lot, is somebody who's suffering. Um, they're inside each one of you, whether it's bright or dim or barely there, is a light. And I would say to just really close your eyes and focus on your chest and focus on that light that's inside you and ask it to shine brighter and brighter, because we get so stuck in our pain that we forget we are light, that we are an amazing being, that we are truly a gift and divine. And divine can look different to different people. It can be all sorts of things. But I always knew, no matter what it was, there was this spark. It was just a spark for a while, but there was a spark, and I focused on that. And I focused on, I know there's more. I know there's more. I know there's more. There has to be more. There has to be more. Please help me. And I reached out for help to whoever I could ask for. It didn't matter what it looked like. It didn't matter, because there's so many moments in every single one of our lives where we need help. And it's not a shameful thing to ask for. It's not a bad thing to be in a place of needing help. Everybody needs help. Nobody can do this alone, especially in the beginning. You don't, how would anybody know what to do if nobody said, hey, I need some help, please help me? And I think that's just the biggest thing. Find anybody who will listen and be vulnerable, be honest, let people know what's going on in your life, let people in. Reach out to one of us, reach out to me, reach out to, I'm on Facebook as Debbie Shuman Espinoza. Send me a message. I am 100% open, non-judgmental, as we all are. Like, all of us in this community, in this book, in this, I just really think that would be the first thing to do. Is just really sit down and ask yourself, are you ready to change? And if you are, ask for help.
Yeah, I think that asking for help is such like a key thing, because I know that all of us in this book at some point, like, we didn't know, like, that's like the first thing that somebody would say is like, I don't know how, right? I don't know how. Mm-hmm. I want to, but I don't know how. And it's like, well, in that help, you will start to open the possibilities for somebody to lend you a book, for somebody to tell you, hey,
I was just going to say that. Even if it's just a book, you know what I mean? Like, there's something that will spark that light. There's something that will. So just,
I feel like
exactly.
the God or the universe comes through in a form of a book, in a form of a friend, in the form of a meeting with a friend. Like, it's just like, when you're open, right? When you're open to receiving, you will get that. In my own experience, like, I got this book actually when I was going through my darkest moment, and that's the book that literally started to shift a lot of the things. So God shows up in so many ways, right? When you're ready to see and receive.
If you think about it, like, the 14 of us have been on this amazing journey of different stories, different problems, different just life journeys. And we have all come to a certain point where something has inspired us. And I believe with you, with me, with a lot of us, it was a book. And how amazing is it that we can now give back in that same way, with a book and our stories being out there to, just that little bit of inspiration, that little bit of hope, that little bit of spark that somebody may need to start the journey rolling on their way to recovering and finding themselves and the love that they really are. It's a beautiful thing. beautiful thing.
It is.
Yeah.
It is when you think about it, like the because if there was ever a doubt about even being able to write, I mean, you're an author, but for me, I hadn't really written much like that, and that like
Mhm.
not a book.
Right.
So when I think about like maybe parts of me saying like, no, don't do it, you're not a writer, then I think what would have happened if that person that was giving that class that I took and that author would have stopped
Yeah.
themselves, I would have not had the opportunity to
Mhm.
heal, to get inspired, to break through the other side, to take the next step. So it's like when I think about that, I'm like, when you deny, right, your talent and what God gave you to be expressed, you're just shutting the world. You're shutting off the part of yourself
Yeah.
that could help and reach and touch somebody out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Like I agree with that. Like the people who helped us, could you imagine if they had said no? Like,
I can't even. I was thinking about that the other day, like 2 days ago, and I'm like, I can't even imagine if this person wouldn't have had this coaching year class that I took. Like what would have my
where
life
my life
been
would
right
be.
now?
Yeah. Yeah. A hundred,
Like,
a
thank
hundred percent. I
God
agree with that.
chose to like do it
Yeah.
and not care and not listen to those voices, and just be like, yeah, I'm doing this.
Yes. Yes.
Mm. Oh,
Um,
Debbie, I love your story. Thank you for being here today. You're such an inspiration.
oh,
um
I
how
love
do
you.
how do people get in, is this how people can get in touch with you, anybody that's seeking for help?
Yeah.
um
It's the worthinesswarrior.com. I'm on Facebook as Debbie Shuman Espinoza, and
I'll
I'm also on Instagram as the Worthiness Warrior. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, reach out to
Reach
Debbie.
out. Reach out to any of us, like reach out to Fiorella, reach out to me, reach out to anybody, anybody. And maybe somebody will be listening to you for inspiration one day. And you never know what magic and miracles can happen when you say yes to you. So yeah.
Absolutely. I love it.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna just put back the link for the book if you want to get it.
Yeah.
Wait, where's the book?
Yeah, like read our stories. They're
Okay.
amazing. Oh my God, Fiorella, I read yours. It's just I'm in love. I'm in love with this collaboration of women. I'm in love with our stories. I'm in love with this book. I'm in love with how the magic of how it all came together happened. And it's just, yeah, it's a special, special gift. And 99 cents. You can't beat that, right?
99 cents and your life can be changed. I mean, it's a pretty good deal.
It's a
99
pretty
cents
good deal.
on pre-order now. It actually comes out on February, but you can pre-order it on Amazon
Yeah.
right now. It's on your
And get
supermarket.
bonuses from all of us.
You have
Woo!
14 different bonuses from webinars, from meditations, from
Yes.
workshops, from programs. It's just a lot of value.
Yes.
Yes, for yourself. So, Debbie,
Say
is there
yes to
anything
you.
else?
Get the book.
Yes. Thank you guys for watching. Reach out
Thank
for
you,
help.
Caroline. I love
Friends
you.
to us. I love you, Debbie, so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.